These final episodes of Yellowstone have been quite a wild ride. John Dutton's, Kevin Costner, death has sent shockwaves throughout the greater Yellowstone universe, and as each episode continues, more bodies are piling up. While one might think that Yellowstone's most recent death, Colby, may have crossed the line, the real moment in Counting Coup came at the very end of the episode. Yes, we're talking about Case Dutton's, Luke Grimes' final threat to Grant Horton, Matt Gerald, and his family, which gave us quite a different look at the youngest Dutton heir. At the end of Counting Coup, Case travels to Texas, a state we've seen a lot of throughout Season 5. But unlike Rip's, Cole Hauser, time at the 4-6's ranch or Beth's, Kelly Riley, cross-country road trip, Case is there for a singular purpose. After we find Grant Horton, a man we've only previously glimpsed in a professional context, coaching his daughter Ally's, Quinn McCarthy, soccer game, the former NSA agent gets in their car and gets ready to drive them home. But once Case enters from the driver's side back door, everything changes. The former Navy SEAL threatens Grant in front of his own daughter, pointing a gun at the adolescent soccer player in the process. It's a brutal moment, one that gives us a harsher glimpse into Case's damaged psyche and the lengths he's willing to go to protect his family. It's worth noting that Case has no idea who else may be on Grant's hit list. For all he knows, his father's death could have been the first in a series of assassination attempts on the entire family, somewhat akin to Garrett Randall's Will Patton attack at the end of Season 3. But we know that this wasn't the case at all. In Desire Is All You Need, we learned that Sarah Atwood, Dawn Olivieri, only put a hit out on John Dutton, with none of the other siblings or heirs targeted. Again, Case probably doesn't know that, and while he's trying to get justice for his father's murder, something already achieved, in part, by Grant's operatives when they killed Sarah, he's also trying to ensure that nobody comes after his own family as well. But although Case was only doing what he thought was right by protecting his kin, we can't help but think he went a bit too far here. In fact, on some level, Case has become no better than the very man he's threatening, and, frankly, he should know better. At the end of Season 2, the infamous Beck brothers kidnapped his own son, Tate, Brecken Merrill, which, rightfully, sent him far over the edge. That kidnapping traumatized the boy, and took him quite a while to get over. Likewise, Case pulling a gun on young Ally Horton was probably just as traumatic for the young girl, and no doubt made Grant's blood boil just as hot as Case's had. If Case didn't have any trouble with Grant before, this may be the thing that puts him in hot water. In the past few episodes, we've seen Case grow increasingly more aggressive. His father's murder has no doubt brought out a side in him that he can't fully control, and it's no wonder then that Monica, Kelsius Bill, has warned Tate that they'll need to fight tooth and nail to bring Case back to them. While Case has been at his most interesting this season as he wrestles with the grief of losing both a child and a father, it sparked something in him that Yellowstone has never explored much in depth before. This darkness, this quest for vengeance, can only lead to more bloodshed, and we can only hope that the blood spilled won't be Case's own. At the end of Season 4, Case sees a vision of the end of his family. But when talking with M.O., Moses brings plenty about this in 353, Case discovers that maybe this means that he's going to have to choose between the ranch, his legacy, and his family, his future. M.O. tells him that, when the time comes, he'll know which path to follow, and in Counting Coup, the Dutton expresses to his wife that this is it. But Case's threatening of Grant and his family hardly seems like an impossible choice that will determine the future of his family, unless it backfires, that is, and it makes us wonder if he misinterpreted the vision entirely. Maybe M.O. was actually speaking about the choices he'll ultimately have to make concerning his brother, Jamie, Wes Bentley, and the Yellowstone Dutton Ranch itself. Right now, it still feels like a mystery. Of course, Case's controversial actions at the end of Counting Coup, as shocking as they are, don't come as a shock. We shouldn't be fully surprised to see that Case would be willing to threaten children for the sake of his own family's safety. After all, while in armed combat, he killed children as well. Back in Season 2's Touching Your Enemy, Case tells his father a war story about his time overseas. He explains that, on one mission as a Navy SEAL, he once killed an entire family during an operation in order to both protect his team and neutralize their target. Soldiers don't tell war stories anymore, Dad, Case explains to John, 'cause wars these days, it's just about trying to live through them. These actions still haunt Case. While it's unlikely he'd ever kill Ally Horton or any other child, knowing that he's previously stared that darkness in the face is important context. It's this very side of Case Dutton, the Navy SEAL, who comes out here and counting coup. We know from his conversation with his father that this dark part of him scares Case. But despite that, when in Texas, he's fully on mission, thinking of this as just another military operation. Now that the battle is being fought at home, there's no telling what could happen in these final episodes of Yellowstone, or who might get caught in the crossfire. Hopefully, Case will find himself again before it's too late. Considering all that Case, Monica, and Tate have been through, we can only hope that this branch of the Dutton family tree remains intact by the series' end, even if we're appalled by the lengths Case might go, and the children he might threaten, to preserve it. Yellowstone Season 5 Part 2 airs Sundays on Paramount Network. Previous seasons can be streamed on Peacock.